Αγαπητές φίλες και αγαπητοί φίλοι, καλώς ήρθατε στο Γαλλικό Ινστιτούτο Ελλάδος.
Welcome to the French Institute of Greece. I would like to welcome former Minister Najat Vallaud-Belkacem, Mrs. Kalafatis, for being with us tonight. And I would like to thank very warmly all non-governmental associations, both French and Greek. In 2020, associated with Liris in order to open up a space of exchange and meeting around migration. A new debate has started by means of conferences, round tables, workshops, with the participation of civil society, media, and the Greeks and the French. Why? Because talking about migration is really speaking about the human rights from a different point of view. Not everybody seems to be equal in this cycle. And this is when it started in June with the roundtable with the topic how to talk about migration. In October, we are going to have a conference by Eric Fassin, and in November, workshops for women, refugees, and in December, a workshop, therefore, on the vulnerability of genders on the island of Lesbos. Tonight we are celebrating, honoring rather, the resilience of refugee women and in the larger cycle of innovating youth. So that women, refugee women, that also belong to businesses and become business women. Startup and co-working are two subjects that refer to Athens and that have worked programs. And I want to thank them for their engagement, for their devotion. And I want to thank the NGOs and participants. After what happened, the dramatic events in Moria, the refugee issues, migrant issues are more present than ever. And there are difficult meetings now around the migrant flows that has become a European issue. This evening, this organization will allow us all, organizations, media, people, to understand what migrant women can offer to their welcoming societies, to these societies of reception. And there will be workshops to discuss different ways in order to encourage refugee women become business women. We will have, therefore, Mrs. Vallaud-Belkacem, who is going to be with us tonight and will help us. And I want to wish you all a very interesting evening that will be a source of inspiration for us all.
Call up Mrs. Najat Vallaud on stage. Welcome.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. I am very pleased to be here in these very special circumstances. You said I was Minister for the Women's Rights and Education. You said this, but I have other hats as well. And these other hats explain why I accepted to be here with you tonight with so much pleasure. That could explain what I am doing, I have been doing for the last 3 years. It is TENT, that it's an organization that started a unique program 3 years ago, aiming at helping refugees, but by involving the private sector. Before that, it was NGOs and the state. TENT is changing the setting a little, and because, in fact, what we need to do, what they need to do, these refugees, is to help their families. In order to do so, they need to find a job. This is where the big businesses enter the game, and this is why our organization, TENT Partnership for Refugees, has contacted and attracted more than 100 businesses all over the world, in Latin America, in Europe, and in North America. And we see L'Oreal, Ipsos, and other businesses that are taking part in this whole endeavor. So the idea of involving the private sector is in order to give the idea to make people understand that refugees are a matter that concerns us all, be it women or men. It is important for them to have a professional activity. And we have noted that once they have a work, a job, we don't see them as refugees anymore, but as people that contribute to the wealth of a society. And the third reason, that was my second reason for being here. Third reason is that I am particularly sensitive to questions of gender equality. I wrote a book with Sandra Logier, which really consists of a series of lessons drawn after COVID-19 on women's situation. Because, in fact, during confinement, during lockdown, women were the ones that had to take the brunt of all financial losses. They found themselves at home, confined, having to do everything at home. And women, on top of everything else, have very vulnerable jobs. They can be in nursing, they can be cashiers. They are the jobs that women have with a 90% practically, and these are the jobs that are the first to suffer. So that is what the question we asked with Sandra Logier, to take into consideration women's jobs, and their jobs led us to think, to reflect on their problems, to make them speak. And in fact, they're not often taken into consideration, and it is an urgent matter. We have to hear them, and we must not allow society to downgrade even more. These are some of the questions we can process tonight. What happens to these women once they arrive at the receiving society? Are they supported in order to find a job? Do they receive any aid, any help for that? At any rate, thank you very much for your reception here tonight of me.
and thanking all the speakers for being here with us this afternoon. Both Julie and myself have had to improvise a little bit for this event. I guess COVID beat us to it at some stage, but nevertheless, we're here and it's a real pleasure. And I'd like to thank all the speakers for your support and for believing and being with us here tonight. And we promise that once the measurements are lifted, we will do a proper networking event. And I can't wait to hear. I don't know everybody in the room tonight, all our guest speakers. I have had the opportunity to read up on everybody's bios. And I hope everybody's as excited as I am to hear more about the projects, what you all are working on, and ways of moving forward and collaborating. It's been a real pleasure to prepare and put this event together. And all our viewers, there's a YouTube channel that people will be watching us on and throughout social media. So for those who are watching us, you can prepare your questions. The plan for tonight is we have all our guest speakers on stage one by one, followed by a round table. And right after that, you'll have the opportunity for Q&A to every single one of the speakers and the projects. So make sure you prepare everything in time, and we look forward and hope you enjoy it as much as we do. And I would like to call our first speaker up, Caterina Salta. Caterina is Sport for Protection Program Manager at Olympic Truce, STFC, and she'll talk to us about how she uses, and especially football, as a tool for protection, empowerment, and social integration, and will tell us how Refugee achieved life goals through it, also about the new life goals that she personally discovered. Caterina, thank you and welcome.
Thank you, Maria. Bonsoir, je suis très heureuse.
Hello, good evening. I'm very, very happy to be here with you.
C'est de Grèce. Merci beaucoup, The Cube, pour cette opportunité de présenter notre travail. Salta, I am the Sport for Protection Manager of the International Olympic Truce Center. A few words about us. So the International Olympic Truce Center was established in 2000 as a joint initiative of Greece, the Greek government, and the International Olympic Committee. Our mission is to promote the Olympic ideals, to serve peace and friendship, and to uphold the observance of the Olympic truce. And how do we manage to achieve our goals? Mainly through non-formal educational programs delivered directly by Olympians or Paralympians to children and youth. But I'm here today to talk for a specific program related to our theme about STFC. So in 2019, in March 2019, we founded STFC, the first refugee and migrant women football team in Greece, but as we found out later, actually in Southeastern Europe. We founded this team to support the psychological well-being of refugee and migrant women, as well as their social integration, and to promote the Olympic ideals and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So through this project, we are aiming the protection, empowerment, and social inclusion and integration of refugee and migrant women. Until today, more than 45 women of 14 different nationalities, 14 different countries such as Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Cameroon, Congo, etc., have registered to the team. We're talking about adult women. And the team in the future, our vision is to welcome also Greek women with less opportunities. Our activities include 2 football trainings per week in a football pitch provided by the city of Athens, 1 weekly non-athletic activity, such as workshops regarding the SDGs or the Olympic ideals, speeches provided by professional football players and not only. Friendly matches every month, at least until this was before COVID. Now we're trying to find new ways to interact with the Greek community. Actions for the Sustainable Development Goal 16, peace, justice, and so institution. And we are also trying to provide, to give to our beneficiaries different opportunities, different chances. So we give them the chance to get introduced to other sports, such as some of have referred here, volleyball, basketball, and so on. Why football? Of course, in our case, football is a tool for other things. So we're trying to provide them a sense of normality. Their life for sure is not at all normal. It can be boring, can be stressful. In the case of women who are still living in the refugee camps or they're even homeless, it can even be dangerous. To provide them an opportunity for organized recreation, which helps them to develop a positive personality. To help them to gain confidence to regularly participate in a structured program, and this is vital as they try to integrate in a new society, the European one. To self-motivate them to execute effort to transport themselves within the city of Athens. Many of them didn't have any motivation to leave the four walls of their apartment or container, so they didn't even have the chance to get to know the city in which they live. And football, the football trainings and all the activities gave them this motivation, which is really important. To help them to discover new talents within themselves, soft skills, hard skills. I developed even my language skills. I had to remember my French language in order to communicate with the French speakers. To motivate them to succeed inside and outside of the football pitch, and to prepare these women to become role models not only for other refugee and migrant women, but in general for women with less opportunities. There's only one reason that I'm sad today, the fact that we couldn't have some of them speaking on their own for their lives, their experience. That's why I included in my presentations some of their own words. I will shortly refer the case of Leila, a woman from Afghanistan, single mother of 3 underage children. When her husband was kidnapped by the Taliban, and unfortunately until now they have no idea where he is, they faced severe danger, so they had to leave their country, and they decided to seek a new opportunity, a better future in Europe. When she came, she had a severe psychological trauma. The doctors told her that she had even 90% chance to have a stroke, so she couldn't handle anything, not to support herself, not her children. Football gave her the motivation to stand up and to empower her to stand up on her feet again. She managed to focus and start learning Greek and English. She even referred her words somewhere here, now I'm a really woman, and that also she feels that she's even a better mother now. I think that their words are much more important than what I am expressing. I wish they were here, and maybe in the future, hopefully, we'll have the chance to host some of them here to represent themselves. Numbers are always important and indicative of our work, of everyone's work. So since STFC was founded, we have had 8 friendly matches, and we participated in 3 local international football tournaments. And all these are important because they give them opportunities for social inclusion. They're eager to interact with the Greek community, with the European community, to show their skills, to show that they are not so different as the Europeans or the Greeks think. So all this has been achieved through the friendly matches and the football tournaments in which we have participated. We have organized 11 events, and during these events, we always give them the chance to speak up, to express their experience, and all of them, they have expressed how much these chances, these experiences have empowered them. We have more than 70 local and international partners, including the Hellenic Football Federation included, and this is really important because we hope in the future that other states like the sport clubs and of course the football federations will start their own initiatives for the social integration of refugee women, and not only women, of course. 11 conferences, 6 local, 8 international, and this is a big impact because during these conferences we're able to share STFC's path and the impact, and to actually advocate for the human rights, not only of refugee women, but for all women of with less opportunities. And many achievements in such a short time, and we're really proud of it. STFC is the European champion, is the champion of the European Global Goals World Cup. This happened in Copenhagen in May 2019. After that, we traveled actually to Lyon during the Women's World Cup. There were many tournaments, many different activities organized who participated in a football match, which actually gave us a Guinness World Record of the most nationalities appeared in a football match, 5-5 aside. Then, because we were the European champion, we traveled to New York to participate to the final of the Global Goals World Cup, where we took the 3rd position. Nominee for the Peace and Sport Awards in Monaco in December 2019. And then it was the Global Refugee Forum in Geneva. And we are also referred in the UEFA report in April as one of the best practices of football as a tool for integration of refugees and refugee women in Europe. We have been covered from more than 80 local and international media, so this creates awareness, which is really, really important. One of the biggest problems, lack of refugee context, is the lack of information for the refugee population, but also for the European one. So we're trying to raise awareness for the context through the media. And one of the most important values that we are taught through sport in general, in our case football, is leadership. And one of the best examples that I can refer is Shakiba, 22 years old from Afghanistan. She expressed that through football, through STFC, she discovered her life goals and that she wants to empower and try to help, support other women with less opportunities, other women on the move. So we tried to work with her to give her opportunities, and she was a speaker last year in many local and international conferences. So she also traveled with me to Monaco, where we were nominees. And I think it was one of the most beautiful and proud moments of my life. I wasn't up here talking to Prince Albert or anyone else. She was up there expressing her experience. And it was amazing, unique moments. And she was also chosen as a youth champion for peace from this organization, which is really important for us. Challenges, because of course there are challenges. What I mentioned until now maybe seems ideal, but of course it's not. So the basic challenge is funding, and because of the lack of funding, there is lack of proper equipment, and there is lack of we cannot support them their transportation, and of course we have a huge dropout of the Arab speakers because we cannot afford to hire an Arab translator as well. But enough with me. I think it's better that you see and listen from them.
I really feel that I have this power. Before this, maybe I didn't believe myself.
I forget everything behind me. We just play, we have fun.
I think for different reasons, these women didn't have the chance, or they didn't feel comfortable. That's one of the things that football provides, a safe space. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the presentation, and I hope we can, in the future, we can have more opportunities to explore more ways of collaboration to support all women on the move and all women with less opportunities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katerina. I met Katerina a few years back at the peak of the crisis when Katerina was a volunteer like many other of us. And it started from that, from volunteering, from caring, from loving, from understanding the crisis, and throughout the crisis, finding the opportunity. Katerina, it's been a real pleasure. I've met Katerina and have had Katerina and her team as guest speakers. And when you meet these ladies and when you feel the vibe, it's out of this world. It's one thing that we didn't manage to present tonight due to COVID, but at first opportunity you will. Katerina, thank you very much, and a big bravo for yourself and all your team. And our next speakers are from Meet My Mama founders, Donia Sudan Amarna and Nitharsini Mathailag. A catering platform, Meet My Mama, helps migrant mamas skilled in cooking, make a living, and get their talent discovered. Ladies, please join me on stage.
Bonjour à toutes et à tous.
Hello, and thank you for this invitation. We're delighted to be here, all of us. I hope we are well placed here. Okay, the history of Meet My Mama, that has been in existence for 3 years. It's the history of a meeting. When we met, the three of us, we realized that we had common passions, traveling, cooking, and we realized by speaking together that we could really meet women that were very talented in cooking, had all these good points about them, and they could even change the world. And we realized that their voices could not be heard, and we thought, why not? 90% of chefs are men in the world. We never see women. So we started to wonder, why weren't we seeing the women? Could be language, lack of self-confidence, living in a man's world, having to deal with their family and look after the kids, how to bring together professional and family life. And when the refugees started coming massively to France, we could see that the kids, they were very much in embarrassment, and there were 50 years since the first time that other women came to France, and still they did not speak French. So three of us looked at numbers, at figures, and we realized that it was underrepresented in the business world. Nowadays, this is changing. 30% of the businesses created is opened up by women, and this is very important. And we wanted to take them out of their boxes, and we've created a model with a business and an association covering 4 activities. First of all, community and inspiration. We have more than 200 women that inspire each other, and they organize, we organize inspirational events with women chefs in order to show to these women that women are there, present, and are very necessary. And then we went further. We wanted to make them speak and have their voices heard. We wrote a book in the edition in the publications Hachette, and today we can see them write, speak, and narrate, which is even most important. And then training, even more important, because train them and qualify them and then have them acquire their degrees. This could allow them to become the best chefs in the world if they had all the necessary documents. And then, of course, they would have the technical competencies to manage their daily duties. And of course, environmental questions are extremely important, and these mamas, in order to transmit the values to the children, they need to be trained themselves in order to be able to then convey their knowledge to the children. So they take lessons in IT, in sustainable development, in the environment, and what do I do in order to cook? So a package that will allow them tomorrow to be the best representatives of their work. So they train in order to be able to create recipes, to have all the competencies that will make them serene and autonomous in their business. Another activity, very crucial one, because after having trained them and accompanied them, we offer them the possibilities we offer them business possibilities, very concrete ones, which is even better than simply training them and giving them papers and degrees. They are in a possibility now to organize events in the Louvre and the Petit Palais and elsewhere, and they can cook and actually present the cooking that their own moms taught them to everybody. So the goal with the Mama Academy was to have chefs, business women, independent women, after they were closed in the house without being able to get out. This is the first mama. We started with her, and 3 years later today, she can really be proud of herself and to tell us her own history. And then we can see a video in order for us for you to be able to see. Thanks, because of COVID, we could not present this in real life.
Je suis un auto-entrepreneur dans la cuisine. Si je me tiens actuellement devant vous,
if I am standing in front of you, it is in order to tell you my story, the suffering that I experienced before. I was never able to leave my house, and I was always a refugee. In 1992 and then 84, my dad was attacked by those who did not like his commercial development. Our house and our property were totally, utterly destroyed. We stayed. We became refugees. After this, we forgot a new place and we lived there. Then the war started. in Sri Lanka in 1990. No, we were refugees in different areas, regions, and we went to India, where we were refugees again. We were refugees no matter where we went. In 1999, we went to a member of our family in Sri Lanka. After this, we were given a house where we lived. In the meantime, I finished my studies in 2003, and I worked as an accountant in a bank. However, this during this period, I got married, and my parents died. It was very, very difficult for me. And then the war started again. We know how to narrate our difficulties. It was very difficult. And then we went to Malaysia as refugees again. My daughter was 8 months old then. I didn't know where to go in order to buy milk powder. It was the NGOs that helped me to start my own business. Before that, I didn't know how to cook. I learned how to cook together with my husband and my mom. And then I got my degree in pastry making and in bread making. In 2015, November, we went to France with the help of UNHCR and the French government. Once again, we were elsewhere, uprooted. But this time I was not depressed. This time I met Pusa. We spoke about a project and we started to work together. I worked with them. I'm sorry, says the speaker. She's visibly moved. I worked with them without an interpreter. I really trust, I have confidence in what we did in Meet My Mama. And I left behind me the refugee state situation that I had met in all these places I had been to. I know that they need help and they need to become more self-confident. Thank you very much.
Et on est déjà prêt à vous écouter. Je vous ai vu une par une et je sais de quoi vous êtes capable.
Pendant ces 4 mois, vous vous êtes formé à 3 métiers. Vous avez été formé au métier de chef traiteur, au métier d'entrepreneur, puisque vous vous lancez en tant qu'indépendante. Et puis il y a un 3e métier qui nous tient particulièrement à cœur, c'est être maman.
Et maman, vous avez 100 minutes, s'il vous plaît. C'est la notion de maman.
On se retrouve ce matin pour discuter après ces 3 mois de formation intense de la Mama Academy.
Dégustation à marja, brochette de poulet mariné à la crème, parfumée aux graines de fenugrec.
Avant de monter sur scène,
Là, comme tout le monde, j'ai un peu de stress, mais ça va.
Enfin, j'ai trouvé une équipe, une famille, une communauté.
Très coloré, en plus c'est bien présenté.
Qu'est-ce que c'est qu'une vraie cuisine africaine?
Il est temps de parler de diplôme. Après un suspense insoutenable, on a considéré que vous aviez tout ce qu'il fallait pour rejoindre la plateforme traiteur de Meet My Mama et continuer l'aventure avec nous. Un immense bravo pour ça.
Bienvenue à toutes les nouvelles mamans parce que vous avez pris vraiment du haut niveau.
Votre vie va changer, vous allez vraiment réaliser votre rêve.
Nous, comme maman, tous, on est là pour vous aider. Ne vous éloignez jamais les unes des autres. Au contraire.
L'évolution de ces mamas, elle est évidente.
Elles n'assumaient pas du tout le talent qu'elles ont dans les mains. Et aujourd'hui, elles l'assument.
Elles étaient déjà brillantes en arrivant. Et c'est pour ça qu'on a voulu travailler avec elles, qu'on a voulu les accompagner dans leur formation.
à partir du moment où elles se donnent cette opportunité-là, cette chance de se faire confiance, il y a des choses incroyables qui arrivent.
Elles sont allées au-delà de leurs limites, elles se sont dépassées et le résultat il est vraiment top.
Faut jamais penser que c'est impossible. Jamais. Rien n'est impossible dans la vie.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you both. What an inspiring story. And our next speaker will be joining us virtually. She didn't manage to be here with us tonight. From Odyssia, Anna Zoakou, Senior Executive in Program Management and Fundraising. Odyssia is a social enterprise designing resilient solutions for environmental and humanitarian challenges in Greece. Let's welcome Anna.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anna Zoakou. I'm the fundraising manager of Odyssey, and I would like to take the opportunity and thank you very much for this kind invitation. Here at Odyssey, we empower women through our projects, and during this presentation, I would like to present you our programs and how we prioritize women participation. First of all, Odyssey aims at democratizing access to innovation and knowledge to enable self-reliance and accelerate efforts towards a more inclusive society. This is Odyssey vision. Our mission is to bridge global and local resources in open innovation, vocational education, participatory design and services, and entrepreneurship with and for excluded communities. With regards to our achievements, up to now, in 2019, we managed to enroll 254 people in our projects, in our programs, our educational programs. And in 2020, we target at 524 people in academy, incubation, and makerspace, which are the main programs of our Odyssey, of what we are currently doing. In this graph, you may see how these programs are grouped, and I will explain in few words what is the focus of each of them. First of all, Academy is the basic core of our programs. We organize intensive vocational courses in hard skills and soft skills. People register to our courses and really participate in vocational education seminars. At the same time, we offer them employability counseling and employability and livelihood support. In this sense, there is a series of seminars where they learn how to write their CV, to write a cover letter, how to present themselves in an interview. And our livelihood officer is the person that actually connects them with the labor market. Our second program is that of incubator. Within the framework of this program, trainees are attending entrepreneurial education courses, so they know how to set up their own business, and they are also assigned a mentor who actually mentors them through the project, through the program they attend, so as to be their focal point and their point of contact when they set up their own business. Additionally, we have a program on Makerspace, where we organize a makeathon. We teach people how to use certain machines so as to create their own prototypes. And we also, within this framework, organize STEM education workshops. So this is actually what we are doing. This is the flow we are following. First of all, identifying our beneficiaries. There are certain leads we implement so as to identify our beneficiaries. Then there is the soft skills and hard skills training, the employability support, which is employability counseling and livelihood support, and then is really the connection to the labor market, which is actually our main target, as is the most important thing, so that people are absolutely independent. Some of our KPIs, our registered beneficiaries are 695, and the persons that have actually participated in our courses are 279, and 40% of them have managed to find a job. Really think it's very important for people to find a job, and what we take into consideration in this KPI is not only whether they have found a job that is related to the education, to the seminars they have attended, but generally speaking, we are interested in people getting in the labor market, especially for those people that have been unemployed for a very long period of time. This kind of step up is really very significant. What should also be noted here is that we monitor our graduates up to 1 year after they have graduated from our courses, so as to verify that they have found a job that is in good conditions, they have social security, they are paid, and they're satisfied. In case they are not employed, we try to support them with extra training, or try to help them and really support them in finding a new job. So this 40% is as a result of our whole approach towards employability. With regards to women presence in our programs, in our educational programs, we would say that up to now, 41.3% is women. Generally speaking, we prioritize women participation, since it's been statistically proved that women are underrepresented in terms of our beneficiaries, and generally speaking, also do not have the same access to the labor market. So one of our major KPIs is women participation in our courses and really their connection to the labor market. Here you can see that up to now we have 192 women registered as our beneficiaries. Women are those women are the persons that really participate in the courses in the 3 years that Odyssey has up to now organized courses. You can also see here where they come from, what is their legal status, what is their family status, and what is their age. Since Odyssey is a very data-driven organization, we have our own platform where we were able to write down the basic information about our beneficiaries. On top of that, we have an interview with them so that we managed to be able to access them after the graduation and really have all this very useful information so as to organize again our courses, so as to know what strategies needed, so as to attract more women and generally attract people really interested in the course. So all these graphs that I'm currently presenting you are also a result of the data-driven approach of Odyssey. Here we can see the number of registration per week. We can see that generally speaking, women are quite high. There are some. There is a lack of registration at some point, but generally speaking, women seem to be very much interested in the courses. They seem to be very much interested in working. And this is something we're very proud of at Odyssey. I would also like to present you an initiative we currently implement at Odyssey. Is a training program we host in our premises. Is the Global Girls Media, which is aimed at women, both migrant women and the Greek from 16 to 25 years old. It's a course that actually is 1 month, 3 years, three weeks of training and 1 week of study visits where girls have the opportunity to learn more about journalism, to empower themselves, to make a video. So it's a course we host in our premises at Odyssey, and it's something we would like to host at least 3 times a year, since we understand how important it is for women to speak up, to raise their voices, to have all this education and training needed so to be independent. And we think that the most important thing for this to happen is education and training. Closing my presentation, I would like to give you some information for our other projects, our programs. Is the Makerspace. We host at Odyssey the Fab Lab of Social Innovation. At this place, participants have the opportunity to train their skills and to create new prototypes. In the Makerspace, we have also hosted a workshop on textiles where women participation was really very high. And here is the last program of Odyssey is incubation. We have many women that actually also completed this program, and this is complementary to some kind of vocational training they may attend, so as to be able to set up their own business. So this was for us. This is Odyssey. These are the projects, the programs we are currently implementing. I would like to thank you very much for your attention, and congratulations again for the organization of this very impactful event. Thank you very much.
We thank you, Anna. And our next speaker up is Camille Soulier, Entrepreneurship and Project Design at Singa France. Initially a citizen movement, Singa creates opportunities for refugees and their host communities to meet and cooperate. Singa aims is to build bridges between people, encouraging dialogue, fostering cultural enrichment, and creating job opportunities, seeking to improve awareness and change perceptions about refugees and asylum seekers. Welcome, Camille. Join us on stage.
Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much to the French Institute of Athens for the invitation. As you have heard, Singa aims at establishing links between local people and the newly arriving ones. Okay, new people coming, men and women, those who have just arrived and who are not aware of the codes of the ecosystems. But mainly, they don't know the people. And actually, the idea between Singa is to create links between the locals and the new arrivals horizontally, so to speak, in order to create friendships. The objective is to meet each other, to share common projects, to innovate together, and to partake of the wealth that there is. Of course, partnerships are important because meetings actually generate innovation because there is a fresh outlook for those who come from a different place, who are used to doing things differently, and the local people who are there, who have been there, have got their habits and uses. Partnerships, of course, have challenges behind them. It is not an easy thing. I co-founded an association accompanying people that are asylum seekers and refugees to access higher education. And actually, I was able to experience for myself the difficulties of forming partnerships. There are obstacles, systemic ones, when one is a woman, a migrant woman, and wants to become a business person, a business woman, that has its own challenges, especially when you're talking about partnerships between migrant or refugee women. They don't have experience, especially in a new country. So I suppose that everybody is finding these difficulties, and I belong to the same category because we all, especially women, have this feeling of loneliness and isolation. So that it's not easy to access financing, the environments, the business environment, and of course, and mainly the social capital. And the basis, the core value of Singa is links, create links between people, to have a program of accompaniment for the reception of the people that arrive. It is if people come and they are received without the participation of the local people, for us this is counterproductive, to say the least. And it is good for these people to meet between themselves, because it takes them out of their loneliness. And today, Singer, we are present in 20 cities in 10 countries in Europe and North America. We have 8 itineraries, business itineraries in cities, and we have more than 300 companies that we have been accompanying, created more than 350 jobs with a turnover of 2 million euro. And Meet My Mama is part of it. Thank you for this. The idea is to talk about innovation coming out of migration. Actually trying to draw on the wealth, competencies, and experience of people that just arrive to a country, because this is impacted or influenced by the wish to integrate of these people. So it is business people that have just arrived to a country, and that also social business people that are linked specifically to migration. So it is around this notion of migration and innovation. Nantes is the last city to have joined us. We're very proud of it. 50% of 50%, depending on the maturity stage of businesses, are women, especially at the beginning stages. The reason for which we have high figures, and just think of the figures that Donia gave us a while ago. 30% of business women undertake ventures, and this is linked to the fact that the whole course of action is inclusive. The idea is to include and not to exclude. For the business environment, to include all those men and women that are usually cut off. They have no access. I don't want to say that women are minority. We represent 50% of the global population. But generally speaking, newly arriving people and women are the least represented in the business environment. When we think of someone who is beginning a business venture, we have to think in terms of leadership. A leader, namely in the West, usually is a man of a certain age, usually blonde, with a good level of education, and all of a sudden, this is the image, the stereotyped image that comes to mind when you talk about leadership. The fact that they are assertive, self-confident, they don't hesitate to speak, and but the truth is that there is not one profile, one type of leadership. We, for me, to my mind, the leader, the perfect leader, is not actually the profile that everybody has in mind when they're talking about leaders. So we have to change this image, this profile, and we have to ask the question, what is leadership? We need to change the narrative. We have to introduce new forms of leadership. We have to understand that these women do make the difference, a real difference. And they are incredible people. And what I find really fantastic among the women that I accompany, I always say that I have the best job in the world because it is an amazing source of inspiration for me daily, and it really boosts me, makes my day when I have to work with these fantastic people every day. 50% of business women have a project, a business project that makes a difference for her, makes money for her, but has also a social impact. As what, for instance, thought of cultural mediation between the reception society and the arrivals. Camilla, who started society as an association, where everybody working there is newly arrived. Fatima was born in a cave in Jordan. She came from a Bedouin family, and today she is mixing up teas in Lyon in a tea salon. And Marie started an association for refugees. She is a refugee herself, and Bonnie, who is suffering from kidney failure. She came from Uganda, and she's dealing with people that have fistulas due to the fact that they need to have to be on treatment for their kidneys. And it is all these are all women that want to make the difference. They're all in France, and they want to create a better society. And I think we need to give them a hand, because it is for them that I get up every morning and go to work for Sing. It is now 2 years that I've been working for them, and this is the best time of my life. Thank you very much.
Camille, thank you very much for that. What an amazing presentation. And our next speaker up is Emily Wilson, education consultant at Project Elia. Emily is a humanitarian aid worker, an educator, and yoga instructor with a background in special education needs education, trauma-informed yoga, and education within the refugee context. Emily will talk to us about Project Elia, which is a group of volunteers from around the world who have come together, work collaboratively with the residents of Eleona's camp in Athens to improve standards and community well-being. Emily, welcome.
Hello, and thank you very much for having me here. I'm really honored, and thank you to the French Institute, thank you to Maria, and thank you for all of your amazing projects. It's incredibly inspiring to hear such fascinating stories, and reminds me of why I'm also here in Greece. Firstly, I'd like to say I've been here for 4 years, and I'm the manager and the volunteer coordinator for Project Elia, which, as Maria said, is a volunteer organization based in Eleonas refugee camp. Eleonas refugee camp is in the center of Athens. How do I do this? This is our team. Our team is a constantly changing, colorful, vibrant, international group of humans. And every month it's different. We've been working with over 1,700 volunteers from all over the world. Eleonas refugee camp is home to 2,800 refugees from different countries, 26 different ethnicities. There's 800 children. It's a 40-minute walk from the center of Athens. You can get to the bars, you can get to the restaurants, and not many people know that the camp is there. At Project Alea, we run mainly activities based with, obviously, the children, but also we have the women's empowerment, we have the gardening projects, we have excursions, we have cinema programs. Like, there's 28 to 29 different activities, I think, that are run at the camp. We also have a language program of 17 hours of education every day when COVID isn't here. This is a picture taken in 2016, I think, in the first week. And this was our first little school program. We all tried on our mother's high heels, right? When we were a child. Some of the picture I took in 2016. We're very focused on the children and we're very focused on the families. Our job is not to provide shelter. Our job is not to provide water and sanitation and hygiene. Our job is to provide creative empowerment, engagement, education, and make sure that the people in the camp are remembered. They feel like people are caring for them. They feel like they are members of an international society. This is a recent photograph from our little school. So currently we have lots of indoor spaces. We're not using them as of yet because of COVID. But yeah, we have about 50 children under the age of 3 enrolled in our little school program. We have teachers from all over the world to come and do teacher training. And we obviously do a lot of sports. So sports and games, arts and crafts are a huge focus. We have an indoor space, which is a library, which is my baby. This is an area where we have over 1,500 books in different languages. We have reading hour, we have story time, we have women's reading, we have teenage reading. We're trying to incorporate the importance of reading and education with many of the other partners in Athens, including We Need Books and Echo Library. This is the space. Well, half of it. We have a huge education program and a lot of classes which are women's classes too. It's obviously extremely important. This is one of our teachers. He's called Mohammed. He's from Syria. He's now in Germany, but he was one of our first teachers. We trained to be a teacher in the camp. And he was also the man who decided to help the women run their own reading club, their own book club. We have a gardening program, which was with Organization Earth. And yeah, we're very much focused on community. Events, parties. We have a huge theatre group. This is our Eid celebration. I'm just kind of giving you a little picture here. Painting activities, decorating the camp, working with all of the children, every aspect of their lives that we possibly can. And so, yeah, you can see it's a very holistic project working with a lot of people from a lot of cultures and a lot of different countries. So when I was approached by Maria to speak about women within migration, I thought to myself, what is it to be a woman in the context of migration? Are we talking about the volunteers? Because actually our team is our volunteer team is 75% women. So there's not that many men that come, and that's 1,800 volunteers. So it got me thinking that why we are here to focus on the empowerment of women, all of us. However, I think we all have something in common. We're here to help each other. The women are often the ones to support me first when I have a problem at the camp. So what is it to be a woman in this context? A volunteer, a refugee, an aid worker, and a humanitarian? To be a mum, to be an artist, to face fears, to wait a very long time often, to be a volunteer, to show the boys that you're faster than them, to be a group of friends, to develop community, to be a creator of something beautiful, to build something and to face challenges. My position in Project Alea, I've been honored, absolutely honored to meet some of the most incredible people I've ever met. And I find it quite difficult to put into 10 minutes, these emotions and these feelings. I'm sure all of you had this same feelings when you realized you had 10 minutes to do it. So I wanted to show you a little bit of Project Alea, and then I also wanted to discuss with you, explain to you some of the future plans that we have with groups of women. This is a group that we collaborated with called Helping the Helpers. This is actually a Quaker organization. This is a group of women. We did a year-long program for facilitators in trauma care, trauma training, yoga, peer counseling, and working with refugees and with volunteers. How are you supposed to help other people if you cannot help yourself? So this is something that I was really reminded by this group of very powerful ladies in the photograph. The training finished last year, and I was lucky to make a connection with Yoga and Sport for Refugees in Lesbos. So as an organization, we were invited to partake in yoga training. And the yoga teacher training was offered by Yoga and Sport for Refugees to train refugee women, humanitarian aid workers, and volunteers to become yoga teachers. So this is the next step. After this, we received our certifications. Half of these guys are refugees from different countries, and half of them are aid workers. And now the next step is to work out how we can further our teacher training. 4 of these ladies are now in Athens. How we can further our teacher training to train refugee women, migrant women, and asylum seekers in Athens to become yoga teachers themselves and be able to teach online and have their own classes. So this is all in the making. This photo was taken the week of the fire in Lesbos. This balcony is in Mytilene. So these days were spent doing yoga and fighting fires and distributing food. And the resilience that some of these young ladies showed me in this situation was out of this world. Out of this world. I have no words for it. So this will be continuing. We will be training more women to become, refugee women to become teachers. So the current focus for myself and Project Alea in this whole context is volunteer training, making sure that volunteers are arriving to Athens with the knowledge of actually what's going on, avoiding voluntourism, avoiding solidarity, and coming here with the right motivation. Burnout prevention for aid workers and volunteers, which is a project that we're currently working on. Hopefully will be launched in March. Watch this space. The name will be the Pandora Project. Yoga instruction for free in 3 different refugee community centers in Athens. Peer counseling online to many of our workers and colleagues on the islands and in Athens. And every single day, Project Alea is working on camp-based distribution, COVID-19 community education, which I'm sure you're all aware is extremely tiring, and it's very necessary. And right now, we have paused the project. We're simply doing food distribution, COVID-19 community education, and PPE distribution within the camp. We have a small team of women who are doing this with their masks on. And yeah, it's very much a work in progress. You know, it's very much something that's continuing going. And to be able to understand from all of your stories, and also when you're given a job, when you're given a question such as, can you present about, you know, in this event, I realized that there is a huge theme running through everything. There is a really big, strong theme, and that is of the woman's position within the context of migration. And yeah, leaders. So I'd like to say that in the future, there will be no female leaders. There will only be leaders. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much to everybody for having me.
We thank you, Emily. And last but not least, Flame, with Shafiq Kias and Kasia Masiavox. With the Flame clothing line of Iran Shafiq Kias, Shafiq style, making her dream come true. Shafiq, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us, Maria, and thanks for inviting Shafi, especially. My name is Kasia, and I've been working with Shafi for about a year and a half. This image shows her at the end of her first fashion show, which when I first met her, she told me was her priority simply because it had always been her dream. This was held at Action for Women Shelter in Victoria in November. I'm just going to talk you a little bit through a few things. So when I met Shafi, it was at City Plaza Squat, which was a squatted hotel that some of you might know of. And I was just working on creative projects with some of her younger sisters, teenage girls. And we were making zines, and whenever there would be a challenge, such as they were getting press and we weren't sure if this would put their asylum-seeking cases at risk, they would always refer to this mysterious Shafi, who was their older sister. And I just saw Shafi making decisions kind of under a lot of pressure that would affect the 15 people in her life, in her family, always in the calmest way and with complete integrity. And so I just sort of got to know her a little bit in this context, and we became friends. And then she started telling me about how she'd worked as a tailor and how she had this dream of having a fashion business. And we just talked about how she could make that work. This is at her second fashion show. So she was invited by the Athens Fashion Film Festival to show the same collection as we'd sort of test run previously. And this was the finale. I've actually already spoken about meeting Shafi, but this is her prepping for that show, one of the models backstage. This image is the director of that festival congratulating Shafi at the end. And I think the obvious theme that you've all spoken about is collaboration and sisterhood. But I think with Shafi and I, there's a partnership going on, and it's obviously all about passing the ball back and forth of who is leading at which time, when's it appropriate for me to say, I think we should be doing this, when's inappropriate for me to just say, what do you really want in this situation? What are your priorities? Because many times my assumptions about what Shafi might need or want aren't actually what they are. So she's earning money for herself and her family. She's been many times in need of an apartment or in emergency situations. But in these moments, she will often prioritize basically chasing her dream to have a business and be a creative designer. So I respect that, and yeah, it's a really nice dance. So the name of Shafi's first collection was Flame, and I've just written down how we developed this name. So the F is for feminine, in celebration of female aesthetics. The L is for loving to all peoples from all places. The A is for artistic in its approach to design. The M is for modern, for our ever-changing world, and the E is for elegant because it shows self-respect. So Shafi chose these, but obviously I just support with the English. And really, the first collection that she's ever designed was about an exercise in design development. So Shafi is an incredibly skilled tailor. She's been working as a tailor since she was very young in Iran. And that is a whole different skill set, really, than building a brand and thinking about how you conceptualize a collection and then promote it and the language that you'd build around that. So Flame, this first collection, was really an exercise in me showing Shafi how she might do that, and then her connecting that with her roots and the things that she cares about, which is those things I just articulated. And I might mention this dress as well, which is, she basically reinterpreted her Tajiki native stitch work for that central panel, which is just really beautiful. So the final thing I'm going to talk about is Shafi Style, which is the brand name that we came up with for her fashion label. Shafi is the short name for her full name, Shafia. And so while Shafi said, I really want to have a fashion show, this is the first one again, Action for Women, she also said, I want to build a business, I want to be able to make money for myself, support my family, you know, chase my dreams, as everyone does. So we thought about, while the catwalk was her fantasy, what's the reality of the 21st century, a fashion business? It's an online brand, basically, that's accessible, that's probably not super high-end, but she wanted it to have certain priorities that we probably all have at this point, like ethical production, you know, environmental awareness in how you send things and stuff like that. So when we're envisioning this future, which to be honest is quite far off, but you know, some of what we do is a little bit like brand development, just talking about what Shafi cares about and how that might translate into a business. And it's a balance between that and getting the hands-on experience of like, let's do a show just so that you feel like what it's like to show your collection. And it's been really amazing. She's had loads of press. She's probably had a little bit too much press for the stage that she's at. So it's also about like, when do you say yes? When do you say no? Here you can see some of the designs. And actually here it might be worth mentioning, I think these two images, you can really see the cutting. So she's basically mashing up her own culture with a European style. So you can see the trousers, the green pants are a kind of harem cut, and there's lots of asymmetry, and there's the drapery. Both of those looks have head covering, even though they're wearing them down there. So yeah, you get the idea. I'm going to hand over to Shafi, who's going to tell you a little bit about her experience. And then at the end, I'm just going to ask her a few questions to bring out some detail. So go ahead.
Thank you so much, Kasia. And then thank you so much for having me and Maria and Julie. First of all, I want to say sorry about my English. It's not good enough. Anyway, my journey started when I was a teenage. To be a woman, it's so hard. And then it's so hard as an immigrant also. Because 3 generations us, we are immigrant in Afghanistan, in Iran, and then in Europe. I started learning tailoring because my mom was tailor when I was 12. And then after when I learned perfectly, and then I decided to work and then make money because it's a hard to live in a new country and then new culture to make money and then to communicate. But in Iran, it's a little bit easy because we have a same language. But the other hand, it was so hard because we were immigrant. It was so hard to make own your business. And when I grow up and then start to make money for my family because I have a very huge family. We decided to come in Europe, and then it was so hard in the beginning because of the language, culture, everything. But the only thing I never give up was my dream to be as a fashion designer. This comes from when I was teenage. And then when I came in Athens, I lived in City Plaza and met Kasha. I'm so glad to meet you. And then I shared my goal or my target with Kasha, and then she said it's a good idea. And then she started to help me. And then the challenge was the language, and then the communicate. It was so hard because when I decided to make a fashion show, I went to the many organization to can you support me, something like this, and then they didn't trust me, and then they just say, okay, that's amazing project, and then this is so good, but they never get serious. But I didn't give up because I said, okay, if they don't support you, you can do by yourself. And then all of the people were individual, like a Kasha, volunteer, all of them, like models, the makeup artists, and also, yeah, this is the picture of the whole my team in the first my fashion show. Most of them they are volunteer and my friend, and then the makeup artist also. But me and Kasha together make a fundraising to make through this dream. The first most of my friends, they helped me to for the money, I mean. And then some of the journalists, they share it, this link, and then and finally we catch the goal. And then this is so sometimes really when they help me and then make me cry. It was not about I was so excited because I had a mini friend, and then this is the more important things I had, friends. And then this collection means for me, make a friend between Europe and Asia. It's more close together, not so far. We are not so far. I want to tell them we are so close. And then, yeah, but it was, in the end, the fashion show, and it was so incredible. I couldn't believe it. I did it, and I couldn't speak until now. Now, when I want to speak about that night, make me nervous, and then how can I describe that night? And I'm really appreciate about this and from Action for Women also, because they gave me the place and then they support me, and my friend also, all of them. My goal for future, I want to make a new collection. I want to educate more about the fashion. I think I'm not good enough until now because the fashion, it's a very big world. If I want to become a fashion designer, I have to learn more about the fashion. Yeah, and then make my my business, and then make a brand Shafi style around the world, something like this.
Yeah, so that was the finale of Shafi's first show. You can see everyone's so proud of her. I was just going to ask Shafi a couple of questions, but do we have time? So can you just tell everybody, because I think maybe it wasn't clear, in terms of the way you wanted this collection to communicate similarities and a kind of fusion between where you're from and Europe, how did you do that in the actual clothes, in the designs?
Sorry, can you?
It makes sense.
Yeah.
So in the designs of the clothes, how did they do this thing that's partly from Asia and partly from Europe?
Honestly, the first I went around. I went around to see the people from around, and then I a little bit search Google it in the internet. I want to make combine two culture, like Europe and Asia together. And then we all of the women, they are together. I mean, we are together, and then we are fighting for the equal. I think all of us. I want to be part of this.
Totally.
Yeah.
Can you just say one more thing, because I think it's quite nice as we are here in Athens. Can you say a little bit about why you love living in Athens? Because you said this to me before. What's so great for you about life in Greece?
Honestly, the first country give me maybe you can say home.
Yeah.
Because when I was in Iran, they did for many years. I lived there, but I never feel I'm from. I can't say I'm from here because they didn't give me any document, and then make a different me between me and the Iranian people. And then here, when they gave me some document, it means I am from here, and because of this, maybe.
Totally.
Yeah.
One more on this subject. How do you get around Athens?
Sorry, can you?
It's okay. Shafi cycles everywhere in Athens on her mountain bike. She also does like martial arts to keep herself safe in the street. I just say this because I just feel that Shafi really smashes through a lot of stereotypes about how a woman from Afghanistan might behave. And it's just totally inspiring. So obviously I guide her, but she also guides me, and it's a really nice thing.
Honestly, just I want to broke some rules.
I know.
Yeah, that's it. Because all the time the women from Asia, they are limited about many things. I want to be the woman to break all of the rules they made.
I think we should probably end on that note.
Yeah.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Shafiq. So we'll be moving on to a round table. But before we do, I would like our viewers to send a big virtual applause to all our amazing speakers, to the amazing initiatives, real entrepreneurs in the room, great initiatives. As mentioned by most of our speakers, whether you're a refugee, a migrant, a Greek, a European, a non-European, we're all after the same thing. We all have our dream. We all want our safety, our security. We all want to belong. It's great to have seen some amazing initiatives run by migrants, by refugees, by locals, which is a proof that integration is possible, and it's up to us. Thank you. So I would like to welcome on stage Najat, Elpida Kokota, and Marina Liakis. Ladies, please join me. Welcome. I would like to pass the microphone on to Marina Liaki to give us a short intro about herself and her great projects. Marina?
Bonsoir, merci beaucoup.
Hello. Thank you to the French Institute and for having organized this event. I started 4 years ago in order to help the migrant and refugees. And all of a sudden, we developed a number of projects. One is a hostel for women victims of violence, be it alone or with children. And in fact, I like what happened tonight because it changes the image we have of migrant women, and it meets what we do because we help them start on a new foot, so to speak. And in the previous years, we really worked more on social businesses. And in 2008, we started with 3 projects. One was a boutique with 15 refugees that worked there and sold what they were making, jewelry, clothes, and so on, a hairdresser's salon. And a third project that we started this year is a restaurant. That's why I liked so much what I heard about Meet My Mama. In relation to cooking. Now, of course, it's rather difficult because of COVID, but the project is making headway.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and Mihoho.
Bonsoir.
Hello.
Thank you so much for having me here today. It's been very inspiring, and actually, I feel alive after so much time in COVID situation. Thank you all the ladies for the work you do around the world. You gave me a very big boost. Thank you. Really, I truly believe that. MEXOXO is an organization that started in 2013 in Tijuana, Mexico. For the people who don't know, is a border city with San Diego, California. After an incredible study year and trip and in United States, I met Mohammed Yunus, the Nobel Peace Prize winner. And he told me, Elpida, why don't you follow your dreams? So I said, okay. I dropped everything and I went to Tijuana, starting MEXOXO. So MEXOXO is an organization today that supports women to become entrepreneurs. It offers the empowerment, it offers the education, and then offers the network. We have supported 5,365 women around the world in 16 countries after a commitment that we've done at the Clinton Global Initiative. And very honored to be nominated for the UNESCO Prize for Girls and Women's Education. I say it because this we consider it as a win already, and not for us who just work on the team, but for all the 5,365 women who were brave to change their lives and become strong and socioeconomically grow.
Thank you, Elpida. So my next question goes out to all the guest speakers here. My question would be, I mean, I guess none of you would ever imagine yourselves now, 5 years ago. Where would you imagine yourself 3 to 5 years from now? With your initiative, with your organization, with the crisis you've been faced, with the opportunity you've been given, with the role you've overtaken, with the situation around us, with COVID, with crisis.
Do you want me to start?
Please do.
Speak in French. Truth is that I don't think there will be less, but rather more refugees in the years to come, especially on account of climatic changes. Mexico is included in these countries. There will be problems, water problems, water shortage waters, not in the next 3 to 5 years, but in the longer term future. There will be families that will not be able to give their children water to drink. So I think that in the next 10 or 15 years, there will be more refugees on the way here, and the NGOs will have even more work. I wish I could say that they would have no raison d'être, but unfortunately, they're going to have more work in the future. Public power and politicians will have to actually delve in the subject of human mobility. When it becomes necessary to receive people because they are in need, this should not be lived as a drama. And maybe one day we will find ourselves having to move. So it is something that we have to really think about in the years to come. And we need, of course, political stamina for this. Yes, I absolutely agree. When we started in 2016, we thought it was going to be just for a few months because the many massive flows of refugees were expected in Greece. So it was important and it was urgent. And we thought then that we would help for some months and then we would go back to normal life as business as usual. But it was not only for a few months. And I think that I agree that we will have work in the years to come with different projects and different partnerships.
I say what a dream in 5 years people live. It's getting scared. No, we have it. I will say it is 10 years and not 5, as you said before, maybe even 15. But we plan to empower more women around the world. Our goal is 5 million through a digital transformation we are going now. I know it's ambitious. It was ambitious when we started from 0 to 5,000. For me, that's a dream. It's like I'm dreaming more empowered women, more money in their hands, more business in their hands. So I believe that this is the way to eliminate difficulties around the world for women.
I mean, especially with COVID, we all know and we've all lived through it these last couple of months, and we all say that we hope to go back to normality. Normality, what is normality nowadays? I mean, we will definitely not be going back to what we have been used to. And again, I mean, I can speak at least for Greece. Greece has been affected by one crisis after the other. And not only Greece, but again, it's proven to come out on top. And from today's presentations, I see great opportunity for emerging and collaboration of projects. And I do see and think and believe that we will be seeing more in the upcoming months and the upcoming years. And again, crisis is there to bring opportunity. So we need to grasp that opportunity. Let it not be a barrier to us. You are all role models, and it has been a real pleasure to have you here with us today. And I would say one of the biggest role models and one of the biggest responsibilities we all have is to empower the generation to come. I mean, we know that through education, we prepare and we educate the generation to come to not face or to overcome the crisis in a much more innovative and creative way. Tell me your thoughts on that, ladies.
Okay. Well, I do not want to go back to normalcy after 2019. I don't think that we want to go back to what there was before, because what was there failed after lockdowns and COVID. And what did it leave behind? Incredible inequalities that became amplified during the crisis. There were people that had to live in 20 square meters with their families and so on and so forth. Also inequalities in professions, the professions that are essential for our social life, human life, doctors, nurses, that are not well remunerated or recognized. The place of women, we spoke about it, and I said it, that during this crisis, during the lockdown, women disappeared. In France, we didn't hear them, we didn't see them in the quality of experts or politicians. It was the guys, the men that managed everything. And actually, the women lived through an incredible financial crisis. They had no mobile phones, no bank accounts. I'm talking about refugees. They were also victims of violence. Violence went up a lot. I think 100 million more within the world over, that is, within the 6 months of the COVID crisis. This COVID crisis actually made it possible for us to see all the dysfunctioning of our societies. What I really liked tonight, listening to the NGOs' initiatives, was precisely that this is where innovation lies. A new rapport is developing between men and women. And by listening to the experiences, we realize that we take an interest in the others. They are not in the periphery, in the outskirts of society. Remember when they were talking about Meet My Mama, migrants that have been in France for 50 years and still they never learned to speak French, living in isolation. Is this normal? This is negligence, if you ask me. And this is what our societies did. They were negligent, and the NGOs do exactly the opposite. That is, they care. For me, they care, they take care of the others. They're concerned by the others and they want to help them. So, I personally, to finish, I will say that what I hope for the future is to look a little closer what happens in NGOs to find values and ethical values as an inspiration for our future societies.
Oui, pour continuer.
Yes, just to continue a little bit this thought, for me too, the coronavirus pandemic became the reason for putting into question practices, older practices. What I find very interesting is that we have the NGOs, that is those who want to help people, but also business, because business now are made by partners, and they are part of the solution these days. One of the solutions for the future, not only for migrant women, but also for victims of climatic change, climatic crisis. So for me, lockdowns, confinement is something that needs to ring the alarm bell for everything that did not work well until now.
One thing that this, to answer your question, thank you. This is incredible question, Maria. One thing that these 5,000 women have taught me is that there is not normality. Every single one of us lives in their own bubble, and that's normal, even if COVID exists or not. We tend as a team, and I personally see things from the positive side. And I believe that maybe this normality that happens now with all the bad, of course, there are a lot of bad things, can be a common start to begin something fresh, something new, something better, because it's a common normality. I don't know if we had a common normality global the last 100 years or more.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining me on stage. And to all our viewers, tomorrow morning we have 3 workshops. They will be running physically at the Cube, where all our guest speakers will be joining. And they will be running virtually. You'll find full details, both from the French Institute Facebook page and the Cube page. So first one up will be Love Without Borders with Cairo Martinez, which use art to create independence and empowerment. Mi Hauho with Elpida Kokota. Elpida, we look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. And Habibi Works, who will be running it virtually. An intercultural Fab Lab where skilled refugees are supported to unfold their potential in collaboration with keen experts from all over the world. A big thank you from all of us here at the French Institute. A big, again, a round of applause virtually and physically to you ladies, to yourselves. Thank you for joining us. A huge thank you to the team behind the French Institute. It has been a real pleasure and privilege to be here with you tonight and to help set it up. And thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Maria.